Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 4927 26D Bottom Latch Assembly for the use with the 4500 series surface vertical rod exit device by Hager. That 4500 is a grade 1 series exit device, and Hager does a pretty good job at making component parts available. Certainly is advantageous when you invest into a system of very expensive exit device hardware, that you invest into a system that you can rebuild. You know, you've got a really expensive device and a $50 part breaks. Nice to be able to buy that $50 part, and Hager does a good job with that. Let's take a closer visual review of this item. I'm going to remove the screws holding the case on of the hardware together. The name Hager is synonymous with a lot, a very comprehensive offering of hardware. The name Hager is, of course, synonymous with Hager hinge. Well, they make a lot more than hinges, suffice it to say. So the architectural cover itself is going to be available in all of the finishes that you can buy the device in naturally. That's going to be US 10 for satin bronze, US 10B for oil rub bronze, US 3 for US 3 for polished brass, US 4 for satin brass, US 26 for polished chrome, US 26D satin chrome, and then 32D for stainless. I'm going to tell you, this is a piece of stainless steel, even though this is definitely a piece of this is sold as satin chrome. I'll tell you, I would expect it to be marginally magnetic after having been machined. Yeah, it is. Stainless is very marginally magnetic after it's been worked, and this piece has obviously been cut and folded over and welded on the inside. So this is a piece of stainless steel that is going to look like satin chrome. Is there a difference between their 32D and 26D? Probably not. The bottom line is, that's what it is. So the bottom latch. Okay, here it is. This sort of bottom latch is certainly going to be deadlocking. Okay, you can't just get underneath the door and manipulate that. When you have an actuation of the touch bar, of the touch pad, your bottom rod is going to get sucked up into the housing, and that's going to retract that bolt, obviously. Okay. A grade 1 device like this, where it's rated for 1 million cycles, you could have an installation on a school that has millions of cycles. And like all things, maintenance, replacement of parts is, of course, mandatory in lots of instances. One minor disturbing thing just occurred. A little C-clip came out, and I recognize that it's missing from that post here. So I'm going to seat that back down and make sure that it seats down quite firmly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was just a one-off. That clip is not going to come off. Can't explain why that happened, but nonetheless, it's firmly rooted now. Okay. This is a bottom latch. The 4500 is engineered for superior performance. Let's switch to the screen view on the camera, and we'll take a look at the links that are in this video as well. So in the extended description, we have all of this information that's here, designed for superior performance, fewer moving parts. I'll have to take their word on it. Using Ferromir, constructed with die-cast caps and head covers. So they're discussing, obviously, the exit device itself. The 4500, which is in the product catalog here, is a grade 1 device that can meet life safety and fire safety code. Two different devices depending on what code you're obligated to meet. You're obligated to meet both of them, most likely, if you're putting this on. Life safety is different than fire safety in the sense that fire safety would not permit you to have manual dogging on the device. BHMA certified, UL listed for those applications for up to 3 hours. Through bolts are indeed included with every model. The screw package I have in my hand, I'll show you by the end of this video, does indeed include a couple of through bolts for your use of installing. And the mounting plate does come separated from the unit itself so that you can get in there and install the product. We'll show you that as well. Now, product catalog, that's handy because that's just a document that will give you an overview of the entire 4500 series. And as you scroll through, it's as if you're looking at the entire device. So if you needed to purchase the entire device, this is the means by which to do it, to call out your part number. And we'll scroll through here and you'll see the different options based on the different device styles. So this would be a rim device. We've got an electrified rim device. We have a surface vertical rod. We have an LBR version, a less bottom rod, very typical and common in hospitals. Very common in hospitals. Banquet halls. Be nice not to have rods going to the floor, and you can do that in a code-compliant way. Electrified as well, if you need electric latch retraction and other electrified options on that 4500. Concealed vertical rod? Sure. So the 4500 gives you a full gamut of all available possibilities, as well as a mortise device. Trim is down here as well, where you can review different exterior trim. And then what I was looking for were the parts only. Trim, cylinder if necessary, strikes, different applications of strikes. That's a double door strike if you have a pair of doors and a rim device on the active door, where you have an exit device on one door generally. That's the 4927 that we're dealing with here. Okay. Held retracted during door swing. So closing the door is what's going to trigger the strikes to the latch bolts to re-engage their strike plates. But that latch is obviously not hanging on the floor until it clicks shut. Okay. Half-inch throw. Pullman type is a reference to the shape of the latch bolt itself. Pullman type certainly looks like the latch itself, but a Pullman type will have this curved belly to it. Exaggerated drawing, but a curved shape. And when this is engaged against the strike, the amount of pull force it takes is measured in hundreds, if not thousands of pounds. So the Pullman shape is incredibly durable. There's no instances of people pulling Pullmans open without extreme measures. Other parts, you know, your end caps. These are very common to need to do end caps because they get broken, they get damaged, dented, scratched, removed, and vandalized. Head covers, we've certainly sold those. Fire door bolt, that's important. If you are doing a pair of doors that are less bottom rod, you're all but surely going to be required to install a fire door bolt. One piece goes in the active door, a different piece goes in the inactive door, and when that hits somewhere in the mid 200 degree Fahrenheit range, there's going to be a projectile that forces out of this housing into the opposite door, securing those two doors shut. Okay, so that's the product catalog. How to order, that's just going to be the same gizmo as before. That's in the product catalog. And then the data sheet on the device, a cut sheet on the bottom latch assembly itself. Nothing new here. It does list the finishes. Okay, so if you were including this document in a submittal sheet, that would be including this item in a job and need a submittal sheet. This would be the item to go to. Let's finish up this video with taking a look at the item itself and taking some dimensional properties and showing you the screw package. Now, here is our unit. Okay, this is the mounting plate, and you can separate that right off. And that's how you're going to get the two screws attached, or your two through bolts. Through bolts are a great idea. If you have a door that's not reinforced, or you have a if you have a door that's not reinforced, steel, you may have just been using a stock hollow metal door. It's not going to be reinforced. You're going to want to through bolt that. If you have a fire-rated wood door that is not reinforced, you're going to need the through bolts. You're going to want to be really mindful if you are installing this material If you're doing a job and there's plans, specs, approved drawings, approved submittal sets, you're going to want to look at what the detailer put for the hardware set on this. If through bolts are called out, you're going to install it with through bolts. And if they're not, you're certainly not going to just automatically install them with through bolts. Imagine 3 pair of doors that are all, the pairs are pair matched, but all 3 pair are running matched, and you've got anti-gray that's $1 million per square foot for the veneer. Fire rated doors, and the architect and the end user comes to the job and sees all these little buttons on the bottom and top of the door, and they're saying, what are those there for? So be mindful to use those through bolts when you understand, that is the correct way to go. You know, in a situation like that, 3 pair of fire-rated wood doors are going to be ordered reinforced for the hardware, where through bolts would not be mandatory because there's the proper Tectonite bonding, backing, reinforcing. Tectonite is the term for that reinforcement in a wood door. That'll be there. You drill in it, it's nothing but powder coming out. Yeah, you're going to need through bolts. You might want to talk to somebody before you drill a bunch of holes through the door. And that's it. Let's take a couple of dimensional properties of this item as well. Let's slap this back together with its screws very quickly. The name Hager, again, synonymous with more than hinges. Exit devices, door closers, lock sets, electrified hardware, obviously, weather stripping, trim and auxiliary hardware, sliding door hardware, ancillary hardware like signage, filler plates, everything but the door and frame itself is the way I like to say it. Overall height with the case, about 5.5. Overall projection from the face of the door, about 2 inch. Overall width, about 1.5 inches. If I were to say anything about this, it might look a bit utilitarian. I might like a little more curvy shapes, I suppose, but it's certainly a very handsome looking product. While we do sell parts for these 4500 series devices, it's really mostly, if I sell one of these, I sell 100 end caps. And that's because the doors are held open, the parcel carrier comes through with his cart, and bang, cracks the cap, breaks the cap. And that's really the bottom line, not latches. I don't have a lot of experience with grade 1 Hager devices, meaning I don't hear instances of concerns for failure, is the bottom line. And as I had said at the early outset, I do very much appreciate a manufacturer who not only offers the parts that you can get your hands on, but publishes those part numbers. And I would very much reconsider a final decision before you knew that you could buy piece parts only to keep this significant investment in exit device hardware running healthily, properly, and to code, giving you that life and fire safety that's mandatory for the device. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up all the Hager items that we sell, a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the Hager 4927 Bottom Latch Assembly or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.